Are you there? Well, what have we got today? As if you couldn't guess, this mammoth pedal is taking over the bench. But it's not here just for the fun of it. It's here so we can get an inside and an outside view of it. We can take a look at all the features and the various options on there. And there are a lot of them. And also, of course, the software that comes later. And then we'll do a bit of playing, see what it's like. Well, here I am, hidden behind the massive G11 Multi Effects Processor from ZOOM. And some people have said, "Hey Tony, how come you've never done any ZOOM products?" Well, I just never got round to it. It's just one of them things that over time you'll get to. This one's about 18 months old since its inception, maybe a couple of years, give or take. But don't write it off as being, oh, that's such a yesterday product, because I just bought this one, by the way, for about £499 here in the UK, and they seem to be listed everywhere at £649. Yeah, so I thought it was a good deal. The good news is it was a good deal. The bad news is DPD, the carrier they used, is absolutely atrocious and has been for the last 2 orders from that particular company. You tell them they don't want to listen. Anyway, back to this. What's this all about? Well, I've got a few notes on the back here, so you can't see them. Yeah, here's the features, well, the highlights. It's an integrated pedal board with dedicated amp modelling panel, 5 stomp box switches so you can turn them on and off as you like, an expression volume control. Doesn't sound out of the ordinary yet. Touchscreen interface on colour LCD with drag and swipe functions for easy and fast navigation. Yeah, you can gig with this one, make no mistake. It's got a chain up to 9 effects plus the amplifier. Now, in my book, well, more about that later. It's original amp modelling combinations, which is a few. It's an IR loader function for speakers, well, for the cabinet simulation at the very least. It's 2 send and return effects loops plus a MIDI in and out. 5-minute stereo looper. Well, 5 minutes is reasonable. You can get a track out of that, although I have to say I don't use them myself. There's a remote iOS device control via Bluetooth adapter, which is a BTA-1, which, by the way, I happen to have here, as well as the foot pedal. Why do things by halves? and it's compatible with a thing called ZOOM Guitar Lab. So it's got some software, and I'm looking forward to that. I like using the software often, don't you? I'm sure you do. Yeah. Anyway, there's more in there. Let's get this thing out of the box, and then we'll have a look inside and see what the thing's really made of. Well, there's no getting away from it, is there? It's a looker. No, not me. The pedal. Sometimes I go that way. Yeah. Anyway, let's move along a bit. I've got the power supply here. I like to have a look at power supplies before we go any further. Let's just have a quick look at what's in the packet. Just as an also ran bypass. And straight away, it doesn't look good to me. But that's just me. The power supply itself looks okay, except for these 2 prongs you've got on the end here. And you've got this absolutely horrible device. Trust me, it's horrible. It sort of fits on there, and it's a real pain. Yeah. So right off the cuff, well, yeah, I suppose it's a power supply, but look at the size of this thing that you're having to wield around. Why don't they just get a proper power supply with a proper connector? Cheapskater armour, that's what that is. Let's have one supply for the world. And it isn't a changeable one, which is the frustrating bit. Anyway, enough of that for now. We'll leave that over there and we'll come back to that later, won't we? Of course we will. Let's get down and see what I can see inside this darn thing. I'm looking forward to this one. As it happens, I mean, I've been through a few Boss pedals of late, and they weren't particularly exciting. Well, some of them weren't. The 200 series isn't quite as good as what I thought it would have been, which is a pity. But that's life. But this one, well, yeah, it just looks pretty awesome, and it probably is, or it might not be. That's why we're here, isn't it? To take a real good look at this item, this unit. For guitarists, it's really a guitarist box, I guess. And it does away with the four concoction of, well, various effects, and puts them all into one. And to me, that's a good thing. Yeah, I like some of the others, even going back to the GT100. That's going back a bit. Well, just before we actually do anything, I want you to come down here and turn this thing on and let you have a look at the effects you get. You'd be surprised how good they are. In fact, they're very good, so I'm going to turn it on now and let you watch. It's all very nice. Yeah, look at all these things. You'll see them. They'll come on one at a time, and it's a bit slow firing up, but, well, we're not really in that much of a rush, are we? We've got Zoom popping up there. We've got these things counting across. It looks awesome if you want the truth. That's one of the things about this. It is a looker, like I said before. You can see these are counting across now. It's on the last run. We've got loading here. This is version 1, which we'll need an upgrade later on. But we'll have a quick look on version 1 inside, and then I'll do the upgrade. We've got a G11 Zoom. Yeah, so that's a screen. All these are screens. That's full colour and touch, by the way. Yeah, and it's all nice. Look, it's up there, and what more could you ask for? You're just one of these. It's really nice. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to go and pull it apart and show you what's going on inside. Well, there it is. That's your very first look inside a G11 from Zoom, which is there, by the way. This is their top-end unit. They do a G6, a G5, and lots of other ones, I believe. I know there's a G6, I can't be sure of the rest, but don't worry about that. There's lots to look at in here, isn't there? Look at it. And on first sight, you look at it and you say to yourself, oh, it's all plastic. I can hear you now. Yeah, it's all plastic, but to be honest, I don't think that makes any real difference. In fact, it's probably better if you're lugging things around and all that sort of stuff. And you can see that it's very well made, actually. Yeah, it's been made on a machine, of course. But that's what you'd expect. You can see it's been taped down very well in all the places that it needed to be, all around this thing. Yeah, there's quite a lot to look at. And what I like about this, like I like about a lot of different products that follow this general idea, is you've got various subcomponents. You've got this for the switches on the end of the foot pedal, that is, on the little individual foot pedals. Yes, this one's looking after the various knobs on the top, on those little units that look like individual effects pedals. You know what I mean. And down the bottom here, as well as that, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 separate motherboards, of which, you know, it's all, should I say, broken down in such a way that if you get in real major problems, you might even be able to buy one of the boards to replace a fault, you know, if it gets out of warranty and stuff like that. Things people never think about. But it looks to me like it's been made really, really well. And of course, what we're going to do is we're going to get closer and have a look at the processors and that sort of thing. Well, if I can. I don't want to really strip the entire unit down just to do that, but I'll go as far as I can. You know I will. Okay, well, across the front here, you've got this chip on that second section, which is like the unit LCD PCB, it says there. And that one's an ARM chip, and it's an STM32F091. We'll take a look at that one later on for sure. So that's one of the sort of processors that's sitting in there. And yeah, very nice it is. So there's the marking, unit LCD. I don't know whether you can see that, it might be just off camera. Yeah, I'm afraid it is, but don't worry about that. Well, hey ho. As well as the processor on that, you know, the PCB LCD board, we'll call it that. You've got this board down the bottom here, which has got a heatsink on it. You can see that. And it's my guess that underneath there you're going to see the main processor and maybe some memory and things like that. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and have a look a bit closer and see what you really get. Yeah, it's all exciting. Yeah, just as I thought. Underneath there you've got a main processor. You've got some memory. I'm not sure what that one is, but if I can find out later on, I'll tell you what these are. And you've got that other little one down there. So, yeah, there it is. All pretty power-drunk stuff to me. You gain a lot for your money, aren't you? Well, for $4.99 you are. Compared to some of the stuff that I've seen going around that's at least similar money. Oh, man, I could tell you loads about them, but I might get in a bit of trouble if I did. Anyway, more on this a bit later. Let's see if I can get a bit nearer before we leave it. Okay, well, here are the chips as close as I can get. I did sort of show you a bit before, but if you can't make them out, there'll be pictures on the screen. I think these two are the memory sort of chips. They look it to me. You've got that main processor there. Now, I'm not that familiar with that particular one, but we are going to go and take a look at that when I go back up. And notice that it had lots of sort of coolant gunge on the top of it, off the plate that I'm showing you now, which bolts on nice and tight. So this is always under a bit of pressure with the coolant, which is pretty useful. This one, not sure what that is either, but we will be coming back to it. I mean, overall, to me, it's quite a nice looking unit, this is. I think it's got its place, let's put it that way. I can't really show you every last thing because I'd have to bolt it all apart. But I think we've seen enough to say that, well, this one's reasonably good quality. Well, in fact, it's very good quality and it's designed well as well. Bearing in mind that the design is actually Japanese and not Chinese or Malaysian or. So it's a Japanese designed product. Well, there you go. Just in passing, I wanted to sort of show you how many screws hold the back of that in place. So it isn't going to be coming off anytime soon. And yeah, you can see down here in this area where that plate really is pressed in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, yeah, I'm going to turn it on again and let you have another look at that fantastic startup. And by the way, one of the great things about this unit, it's actually got an on and off, which is missing off so many devices these days. I mean, some of them are getting ridiculous, and it's really good to see something that's actually got an on and off. Unbelievable. Yeah, you'd be saying to me, "Oh, Tony, but it doesn't matter." That's what people say, but it does matter. Yeah, it's a very good and useful thing over there, that is. I'm really, I'm into that. Yeah, there it goes. It's all up there now. Well, at least I think it is. Yeah. Oh, it is now. It did that little bit of a reset thing as it goes, and all very interesting. I really like the way that you can see these things even in a darker stage. You can see everything. You know, you've got these individual screens. That must cost money. Well, I know it does. You've got another screen here and these here. And anyway, let's go and have a look a little bit closer. I'm not going to go through every facet on here because I could be here for hours with this one. But I'm going to have a quick look at it and we'll see where we go. Yeah. Okay, well, you can have a good guess at what's going on down here. Loads of things, but let's look through it. We've got this touch screen, which is all very nice, and yeah, I like that. G11 functions, it's showing them all as icons, which is really nice. And while looking at the screen, you can touch it. You can select patch memories and all sorts of things, but I'm not going to really do that right now. We'll do that a bit later on. In number 2, we got the amp section, and you know what's great about this, don't you? Well, I'll tell you what's great about it. It looks just like an amp. It's brilliant. Look, it's all great, that. I mean, that's had a bit of thought. The dedicated knobs, and you can use the touchscreen as well in combination to make all the adjustments you might want to, that you would on a real amp, you know. Here's the expression pedal, and it's all built in as standard. The expression pedal can be whatever you want it to be, of course. It doesn't have to be an expression pedal. It could be a wah, it could be this, it could be that, it could be the depth of an effect, anything you want to think about. As normal on these type of devices, this is the sort of thing you get, which is all very nice. You've got next basically this section along here, and they all look very familiar, don't they? I mean, we can see ourselves twiddling these, can't we? They're a little, they like click as you turn them, by the way. And we can turn them on and off, just as you would on an effects pedal on the floor, on your own effects pedal on the floor, made up of different pedals, if you will. You can assign whatever you like to these. They don't have to be what's on there at the moment. That's just a preset. So it's really, really quite nice, this one. You don't see much gear that's as well thought out. And you can argue, oh, that's old-fashioned, Tony. Some people will. But I don't think it is old-fashioned. I think what's great about it is you've got the combination between touchscreen, real amp controls, well, as real as you're going to get, all the effects that you might want. Well, there's 5 of them, and you know you can have 9 of them. So that's all very useful. And then you've got these foot switches at the bottom that you can scroll and patch up and down, scroll left and right on these things, up and down banks. Well, it's all good. And each bank, by the way, has got 4 patches in it. Yeah, so, yeah, all very good. Basically, these are patch memories down here and banks. And you can turn your tuner on or off. You can hold there for the tuner, as it says. It's all nice and simple. The great thing is, it is simple. Nothing difficult. And the more difficult it gets, mark my words, that the longer you're going to be spending faffing around. Oh, I could tell you stories. Okay, well, we got a quick shot across the back now. I just thought you'd like to see that. See what the I/O is. And, you know, the type of connection these guys use and stuff like that. Well, of course, at the far end, you've got your input. Nothing special about that. Is there? No, you plug your guitar in. And, of course, in the second one, if you've got your iPod or any other auxiliary in audio source, you can put your music through that one. Well, that'd be a good idea. And we've also got then some external loops here. We've got send 1, return 1, and send 2 and return 2. So we've got 2 full-blown loops, which is nice. Notice everything's metal, by the way, across the back of this. The case itself's plastic, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing in its own way. Moving along a bit further, we've got some outputs. We've got right and left, so we can have them out in stereo or mono out of the left one, as per normal. And we've got some headphones there, which I like. Yeah, nice and simple and straightforward. We've got a master volume on the back that we can tweak around to our heart's content. You want it loud? You can have it loud. Make no mistake of that. Then we've got a control in, which is for an expression pedal. Basically, you can assign it to control effects and all sorts of things like that. Moving along a bit further, interestingly, we've got 2 MIDI. We've got a MIDI in and a MIDI out. And thankfully, they are the standard 5-pin MIDI connections. Unlike that Boss stuff that we were looking at that have shut themselves down to 3.5mm connectors. I don't know, I never did get on well with them, but these are the real deal. I'm into that. I think that's a great enhancement to see. Now, moving along a bit further, you've got this thing that says remote. Yeah, you're going to need another component to fit in that. It doesn't come as standard, and this is it here. It's a BTA-1, and it's basically what it is. It's like a dedicated wireless adapter, but this one's lets the iOS and iPad OS Guitar Lab app run from a remote device. Yeah, but from what I gather, it only supports Apple. Well, and there's a few things they say don't work on this, but let's throw that over there, and we'll see about that later, won't we? Yeah, we definitely will. On top of that, we've got this USB, and I like to say, remember this device was developed a couple of years ago, and there it is, USB-C. None of this bloody USB 2 that you've got on some of this Boss stuff coming out. Still today, the cheapskates. You want the real deal. You want to have a standard. This is why Apple are being made to turn to USB-C among everybody else. And there you've got Boss. They'll be forced to do it, of course. But it's bad when you're forcing people to do it, isn't it? So that's where your computer goes. It supports Apple and Windows. Not much more I can say about that. But you can use it as an audio interface, and you can use it with Guitar Lab. And by the way, this does come with a Cubase package that you can download for free. So you can do at least something with it in some sort of DAW. Although it might be a really sort of cut back type of piece of software. Well, it is free, so what do you want, bud? Now then, we've got this next one. This is interesting stuff here. This is a USB flash drive for USB 2 or 3. And you can use it to import IR data and update firmware and things like that. There's no messing around. You put it on your firmware, plug it in there, a couple of buttons and it'll update itself. Which I like that. That's a nice, easy and simple solution to the firmware issues. And this one's got to be updated. I might show you or might not. Don't worry if I don't. What have we got next? Well, the next one, I like this. It says here it's a DC 12 volt, positive center, negative outside, and it says use Zoom AD19 only. Well, you might not use Zoom AD19 only. You really want any DC 12 volt, AC to DC 12 volt power supply that can handle the current, and more on the current a bit later on. So that's a massive improvement once again over that Boss stuff, which is really very frustrating with power supplies. And lastly, the great thing is you've actually got an on and an off. Fancy that. All that aggro, and there it is, an on and an off. Well, that's a bit of a run through of the back of this thing, and as you can see, it's pretty comprehensive really. Okay, well, I've only come up for a bit of fresh air, just give you a bit of a break from just looking at stuff in a willy-nilly sort of way. What we are going to do is we're going to go and zoom down a bit closer for just a quick look at the, the touchscreen and that sort of thing, because I've looked at many devices like that. The M5, I think it was one of them. And that didn't have a very good screen on it, in my opinion. Remember, it's just an opinion. So one of the things I wanted to do was to come back in and just show you a couple of things about that, and maybe a quick look at some of these displays across here and see how clear they are and that sort of thing. And, I'm not going into that much depth because we are going to use the software, and I think the software is a very important and integral part, really, of this device. They don't go through all that trouble just so you can leave it on the internet. Digressing for a second or two, by the way, these are the manuals that it comes with, but I do know that there's about a 110-page manual on the internet that you can download, and if you really want to get into stuff, yeah, it's all there. But scarily, you've also got another manual full of presets, and you've got yet another manual that's like a quick start type of thing, and you've got another manual that covers all of the effects. So you've got a huge amount of things. There's IRs in this thing that you can use and switch around and all the rest of it. But one of the limitations is that there are only 9 usable at any given time effects. I'll call them what you will. And, you've got 1 amp. Yeah. So there are limitations on the device, but you've got to bear in mind everything that you're getting and how it's going to work for you. Okay, well, I hope you can see it okay, without seeing me too much, poking around on the screen. Anyway, this is the home screen. This is the first screen you get when you're going to use the touch screen. Yeah, it's basically got 4 pages. If you look down here, you can see 3 or 4 little dots. So that's the home screen. If you want to go through this, you just literally pull them across like so. And you can see it's all presented so well, isn't it? It all looks good. That's because it is good. I want to watch this thing doesn't fall, by the way. Got to be very careful. Yeah. You get the gist, don't you? It's all very nice. Okay, I'm not going to go into the ultimate depth of this thing. There really is a lot to go over. So I'll just move across the screens one at a time and let you have a look at what's there floating around. Look, we've got some IR, use IRs, edit amp, add effects, do this, do that. So we go to edit amp. If we go and click that, we can see the gain and the rest of it down there. Yeah, how do I get back out? You slide it down from the top. Let's move across a bit further. Remember, this unit's as new to me as it is to you. So if you've never seen one of these before, guess what? Well, neither have I. Not that it matters much. When I get into the software, it's a bit easier to do. I don't like poking around on this stuff too much. But you can see all these various things. You can set the outputs, USB audio, system settings, you name it, they're all here. I'm going to be doing a firmware upgrade, so I aren't really doing much with this right now, and I'm not really going to show you much right now. But you can see it there. This really is a lot to go through. The IRs and the rest of there, edit the amp we've been in. You can change everything really. Use a tuner. There's your tuner, nothing on it of course, and if we do that it goes back. Yeah, all very nice. Now, while you're playing, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to see these tiny little things like that. So one of the things you can do is if you just hit this one, it'll show you the name of the actual patch, that's it there. Now, another thing you can do is you can play by effect board, and that'll show you all the various effects. Well, that's it on that one, I'm afraid. And to get back out of that, you just do that, basically. Very simple. Now, one of the things about this this unit that I like, it comes with a load of patch memories have been prepared to enable quick experimentation with a variety of guitar sounds. You haven't got to be faffing around all day. The patch memories are organised in banks of 4, as I said before, and you can choose a patch memory that you like, start playing with it. You can whip up and down with the bottom pedals until your heart's content, and the good news about that is it's, well, basically simple. And one of the things I did want to show you just quickly, system settings here. And you can see it's here, audio output levels, instrument, auto save on, pre-select off, version info, we can have a look at that. And if we have a look at that, it's all in version 1 on this one. So, you know, it's like as basic as it gets, and it's well out of date because there's a version 2 now. And it does change a lot of things, so you really want to get that up to date if you can. There's a lot of other stuff you can do. I'm not going to really worry about that, and you just swipe it like that and you're back out. So there are lots of things you can do. You can set the output to different things, like I showed you. Well, like I mentioned, I didn't show you. But it's all so-so. If you notice, I'm not missing anything either. When I was doing the, I think it was the M5, yeah, if you could hit something and it wouldn't effectively work, for want of a better phrase, on this one, well, you can just hit it and off you go. It's got, by the way, something I didn't mention. It's actually got a drum machine in here. It's not connected to anything, so you wouldn't hear it even if I played it. But yeah, it's in there, so you can have a lot of fun with that. You've got a looper, which you can, well, you can do a lot of stuff with as well. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff that's great for musicians. That's what I like to see. Not the guys that are faffing around on the computers like some of those, you know, fractal audio guys. Some of that stuff, you can be there for months. With this, oh, you plug it in, spend 10 minutes and you're playing. Okay, moving along a bit, you've got the basically the amplifier section, and you can turn that on and off there. Of course, it doesn't turn the lights off, it turns the amplifier off. So if you've got an amp in the chain further over there, well, you can literally just turn her off. It's gone. Now you've got just an effects unit. Yeah, I like to see this sort of thing, don't you? You know, the simplicity of it all. I mean, come on, man. And one of the things about this, when we were looking across over there, let's turn this around. When we were looking across over there before, there was a section in the settings that said auto save. Do you remember seeing that? Well, it doesn't matter if you don't, but there it was. And basically, if I turn anything on here, anything in this row, it saves it. Oh, just watch there. Keep your eyes on it. It's gone, but now it's been saved. So, all good, that is. And you can save the settings to other places and stuff like that if you really want to and all that. But when that autosave function's on, the changes to the patch memories are automatically saved. So, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. You can turn it all off when you don't want it to automatically save, and that's the important thing. And by the way, this name here, although it's got a bit of a glare on the screen from the lights, that's the amp name. So they have lots of amps. Yeah. Now, of course, you don't have to use these knobs here. You can actually use the screen we were looking at earlier, the touch screen, really to adjust the amp for what you want. You know, go in there, you can edit each amp, and the parameters that can be adjusted and set depend on the amp type, of course. Some amps don't have certain parameters, just a bit like the real ones. Yeah, they can only be adjusted and set using the touchscreen on some of them, not all of them. Adjustments to the values of settings made in the amp section are reflected on the touchscreen, so whatever you do in here is reflected on that over there. It's all nice, it's all, like I said, it's so simple. Okay, well, what I want to do now is to show you some of these pedals, all very simple. Honestly, really very simple. Yeah, you can just turn them on and off. I've got to be careful this thing doesn't fall over, by the way, so just do what we do. That's on, that's off. How hard is that? How hard does that have to be? Yeah, on or off. And if you look at this one over here, that one's on from the preset. But we can turn these others on and off willy-nilly if we want to. All so simple, just like a regular 4 effects pedal rack. Now, while we're looking at this stuff, if I want to adjust something, for example, well, I'll go to this one. Why not? I know it's not turned on, it doesn't matter. If I want to adjust something on this, you can see it here, it's adjusting. Nice and easy. Yeah, I think it's something like that. And we can adjust those accordingly. You'll also notice from these pedals that we see, well, that one is actually a pedal, a wah, a black wah it says. This one is a drive pedal, and this is an IR. So we can adjust the IR in real time, which is pretty impressive really, don't you think? Now, one thing I didn't cover, I'm not going to go back up there, but when we were looking at that list of effects across the screen, you can actually drag them into different orders. You just put your finger on it and slide across to where you want the effect to go. Within the chain, that is. Yes, it's all basically simple. That's why I'm not going back. And just as scarily, as I said, I'm not going back in this. We'll look at it in the software. But just as scarily, you can add effects or take effects away or change what they are and all the things that you expect it to do. And it just does it. It's all easy. And there's none of this problematic stuff like you saw on the touchscreen, for example, with the M5. Okay, well, one of the things to talk about is this this pedal here. Now, it could be a wah pedal, it could be a volume pedal. In fact, on a ZOOM G11, it could be almost anything you want it to be, which I know some other effects units have this sort of similar thing going on. But I'm going to show you something now, first of all, that you don't know. Yeah, you don't know everything, do you? No, of course you don't. Look down here, where this says black wah. Well, it doesn't say black wah for nothing, right? It says it because, well, you've guessed it, it's a wah. And the thing about it is, if you take a look at the corners of these, if you look at the first one, that says dynamics, this one says pedal, that one says drive, this one says IR, and this one says filter. So each one of them's different, right? In this case, in this particular setting, this cram rock. Yeah, that's all good. But what you don't know is this, that if I was to turn that on, because it's a pedal, the pedal here will automatically control the wah. Let me show you. I'm going to just turn this on, and I want you to note up here where the pedal is, that it automatically comes on and will go off again if you turn this particular effect off. But you can have 2 or 3 of these that you might want to be controlled with different things. It's all very, very clever and very simple as well. And that's one of the key benefits of a device like this, the simplicity, as opposed to the likes of the some of the other ones we've seen. I want to move across now to the tuner, or as some of you guys would say, the tuner. And I don't mean sandwiches. What you got to do is click here, and there she is, the mother of all tuners. I think that's a mother tuner, yeah. It looks like a mother to me. In any case, one of the important things about this particular tuner, first of all, you're going to be able to see it from when you're standing on the stage. And that's great because you can be able to get rid of them little, those little tiny ones that fasten on the headstock and throw them at someone. Maybe your bass player or somebody like that, or a drummer, you know what I mean. But that's not all. The thing is with this has got lots of settings that you can adjust, and I guess if I hit it there they are, all raring to go. You see how easy that was to go and take a look, and we can fly around with the tuner for any obscure scale we want to, and we'll never sound right again. Now then, some people like to use a thing called a looper. No, not the missus, she's loopy, don't confuse the two. But on here, you can just simply come in and hit that. And yeah, there's a looper, ready to go. Now it can only record for about 5 minutes, which is a bit of a pity for a looper. It's a sort of, well, you could say it's half a job, but unfortunately, most of the ones I've looked at, most of them, only do about 5 minutes. And that's a pity. Let me explain why. Because you should know by now, if you've been watching this video, that just up here, off camera, is a USB stick. You can put one of these things in it. You've seen them before. Yeah, and if this company, Zoom, were really clever, you could have put in one of them and had it record to the USB stick for like 3 hours. But they didn't, and it won't. So there. I'm not going to go back in there, but I have said that there is a rhythm machine in this, basically a drum machine. Yeah, you can mess around with that all day. Lots of rhythm patterns. You can start them and stop them wherever you like. There's 8 beats, 4x4, 8 beats 2, 8 beats 3, 16 beats, 3 16 beats, 3 rock beats, a rockabilly, R&R, a hard rock, a heavy metal, yeah. A multi-core, a punk and a fast punk, and no doubt maybe even more. Well, that's 17 of them I've been looking. Oh no, it goes on, sorry. My apologies, there are in fact 68. I could go on and on and on about this device and all of the extra things I haven't bothered to show you. But I'm not going to go any further now. I'll go further when we get to the software later on, so let's go back up top. We'll talk about 1 or 2 specifications and then we can carry on from there, can't we? Well, I hope that was interesting, just getting a bit of an overview of this pedal. I think it's quite nice, actually, so far. Steady on. I didn't say it sounds good and it's better than everything else. I didn't say any of that. What I said is, in its design and its overview of inside, this is a very nice pedal. In fact, it's better than some of the pedals that I have given historically a 10 out of 10. Yeah, so it could be an 11 out of 10. It's a bit like the Marshall amp going to 11, isn't it? You get the idea, yeah. But anyway, enough of that. I've got some specifications here. I don't know these top of my head, do you? No, of course you don't, and you'd be reading them off a piece of paper too. That's just life. So let me just run down these very quickly, and then maybe we'll have a look at the chips after. I'm not going to go into hyper depth. I'm just going to show you what they are as best I can figure them. But at least we've got a fighting chance with this one, whereas with the rolling gear, well, you've got customized chips that nobody's ever going to really give you all the information about. But if you are Roland and you want to provide me with all the information about your custom chips, I'm more than happy to show them to everyone else. Oh, you won't? Okay. Well, don't worry. Maybe Zoom won't tell me either, but I'll go and find out with Zoom, so that's something to look forward coming up presently. Okay, well, what we've got in this, by way of specifications, and I'm hopping over a few of them, is first of all, it's telling you there's maximum number of simultaneous effects is 9. Amplifier plus 9. Well, I've said that 2 or 3 times. In my opinion, that's a little bit of a limitation. Why? Well, why is it a limitation? Well, scarily. Them Roland boys, actually, it's boss again. They've got a thing down there called a GT1000 core. Now, I'm not saying that's better or worse or any of that stuff, but one thing I do know, I believe that's got 26 effects that you can bung in the direction of where the audio is going to go, so to speak. And you can split them, and you can this, and you can that, and the other. I don't know what we can do with this one yet, but we'll see when we get to the software. But compared to this, the GT1000 core, well, I wouldn't call it a veritable bargain, because last time I checked one, it was about 600 quid or £599. Probably dearer in America where you are. But, yeah, it was still an interesting pedal. Does it sound better than this? Well, we'll find out. Well, we won't actually compare, but you can always go and have a look at the GT1000 core review that's down there in the text. It will be in the text, and you'll be able to link and go and watch that one and see what the sounds were like off that, and, you know, the effects that we're talking about and that sort of stuff. So it's all very interesting. Yeah, it really is. Let's continue. The user patches in this thing, by the way, is 500 of them. Yeah, 500. The sampling frequency is 44.1 kilohertz. There's no 96 kilohertz on here, but, well, it isn't meant to be that, is it? I mean, we can all put these hyper specifications in equipment and never hear the difference. Well, most of us can't. The odd one might. I couldn't. A to D conversions, 24-bit, 128 times oversampling, which is interesting. DNA converter, the opposite, is 24-bit, 128 times oversampling. Yeah. The signal processing is 32-bit. And the frequency characteristics, which are important, is 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. And anything really below that, or particularly much higher than that, you'd never hear anyway, in my opinion. Oh, your opinion's different? Well, that's okay. It's got a 5-inch TFT colour LCD, which is 800 by 480 dots. It's dot matrix LCDs, 128 times 32, 6 of them. Those others. We've got standard monophone input, rated input level of minus 20 dBu, with an input impedance, for those that want to know on the line, of 500 kiloohms. I'm not boring you with all them. They are what they are. The input signal to noise ratio is 123 decibels, just for in case you didn't know. The noise floor for the residual noise, again, not that it's so hypercritical. I don't think so. But instrument line is minus 99.5 dBu and minus 92.5 dBu for the line. The send is minus 99 dBu. Yeah. We've got 5-pin DIN jacks, MIDI in and out. We've got FP02M input. The power is important. And on this one, they're telling you exactly what you need. Ah, isn't it refreshing? AC adapter, 12 volts DC, Center Plus, 2000 milliamps. And if you want to buy the Zoom one, it's a Zoom AD-19. So there. But it is included with one. Don't forget that. USB, it says here, USB device, USB Type-C. Guitar Lab USB 1.1 for full speed. It said there. Audio interface USB 2 high speed 44.1 kilohertz 32 bits 4 in 4 out. Use cables for data transfer. USB bus power is not supported. So there. I've seen enough of that now. And by the way, it weighs 2.8 kilograms. So you've got most of the specs. And for me, that completes the specification bit. I think we're going to move on to the chips now. Not long, just a little section on the chips. I always like to do that, as well as looking at the quality inside. It's all very important. Honestly, it is. Later on, you know, if you get problems, well, at least you know what you're dealing with a machine like this one. Some of the other ones, you might not have much of a chance. So let's move on to the chips. Oh, you're still there. So why don't you go and subscribe? Yeah, I could do with a few more subscribers. Do that thumbs up thing that makes it so that more people get to see the video. I spend hours on end doing this stuff. You should be helping me a little bit, or have a bad conscience for the rest of the week. That's what I say. And don't forget, choose all when you're doing the notifications and all the rest of it. And yeah, you should be doing that. Now let's get on with the chip section, right? Well, here we are. Yeah, ready to take a quick look at the chips before we get down to the computer and the software. And I always like to do this because it gives you a sort of inside feel about what this thing's really cost and what sort of value, if you will, it will be to you. You know, if you've got junky chips or chips that are obsolete, for example, it'd be a bit pointless, wouldn't it? A year's time, you throw it all in the bin. Anyway, let's run through a few that I've got here, from the smaller ones into the bigger ones, and I'm not going to harp on too much. Okay, well, the first one's a simple little chip. You can see it there, but there'll be one on the screen now that's actually inside this unit, so you can see the real deal, so to speak. But all it is, this is a 55 cents product, and it's an op-amp. It says here it's an IC op-amp GP2 circuit 8 dip, which means he's got 8 legs. Oh, sorry, they're my fingers, aren't they? Anyway, that's it. Very simple, but it is 55 cents. Now we're moving a little bit further up the chain, so to speak. This one's an ISSI, or ISSI, I'd call it. It's like a snake. It's an IS25LP128, and it's on the screen now. And it's 128 megabit, 3 volt serial flash memory. It's got 133 meg multi-IO, SPI and quad IO, QPI, DTR interface. It sounds good, doesn't it? Well, what the hell does it mean? I've got a cheat sheet here. So the features are, well, I'm not getting into great depths, but it's an industry standard serial interface. It's got a high performance serial flash, SPI. It's flexible and efficient memory architecture. Chip arrays, 128 megabit with uniform sector block arrays, blah, blah, blah. It's efficient read and program modes. Well, you can do a lot of programming on this darn thing. Low power with wide temperature ranges, 2.3 volts to 3.6 volts, so we've got a bit of a variance. So loads of other bits of tittle-tattle in here, but I won't bore you too much. But one thing is it's got advanced security protection, and that's software and hardware write protection, and a power supply lock protect, of all things. So it's sort of looking after whatever you're putting on there, so you can't just willy-nilly, I guess, copy it like some Chinese companies do. Who knows? It's an industry standard pinout as well. It's been on the screen. It's probably still there, but you get the idea of that one. And I've even got a third page with all the month on. But anybody who wants to know about it, well, go and have a look yourself. Yeah, well, next one up is a Micron chip. Actually, there's a couple of them. And there's a third one where I couldn't quite get the number, but it's basically made by Micron and very similar by the look of it. These are DDR3 SD-RAM. Yeah, you can see them on the screen now. There's at least a couple stuck together, give or take. And It's a DDR3 SDRAM at 1.35 volts. It's lower voltage version of the DDR3 1.5 volts. So there. It's got loads and loads of features. I won't get sit here going through it. All I can tell you is, yeah, it's memory. DDR3L SDRAM. And the FPGA code, which is a code that saves you having numbers this long that try and fit on a chip, which you couldn't do. The FPGA code is D9SHD, and you can probably see that on the chip right now, if you look careful enough. Yeah, so there it is, and those are $8.24 each. Next one up is an ST Microelectronics STM32F091VB. It's on the screen and it's over there right now. You can see it. Doesn't it look good? It's a mainstream ARM Cortex M0 access line MCU with 128 kilobytes of flash memory, 48 meg CPU, CAN and CEC functions. And it rambles on down here. I'll give it a bit of a quick chat, but I won't spend too long. It incorporates high-performance ARM Cortex MO 32-bit RISC core operating up to 48 MHz, high-speed embedding memories up to 256 kilobits or bytes of flash memory and 32 kilobytes of SRAM, and an extensive range of enhanced peripherals and IOs. The device offers standard communication interfaces. I won't tell you what they are, it doesn't matter. One 12-bit D to A converter with 2 channels, 7 16-bit timers, 1 32-bit timer and an advanced control PWM. This microcontroller includes devices in 7 different packages, so very flexible, used by everybody, including for AV, for receivers, digital TVs, PC peripherals, gaming, GPS, industrial applications, PLCs, inverters, printers, scanners, alarm systems, video intercoms and HVACs. Probably loads more, so you can say that this thing's around. Now I could only find this one sheet. Now this sheet could be right or might be wrong, but the cost I found for it was $3.69 if you buy 1,000. Okay, well this one's a bit different. It's over there now. Looks beautiful to me. It doesn't to you? Well, anyway, I've got the spec sheet. Well, the spec sheet's about that thick, but I've got some cheat sheet here. And it's a Texas Instruments device, and you know straight off, Texas Instruments don't mess about. It's an AM570X. The X goes on the end because there's lots of different models, and I'm talking generally here. This one was an AM5708, I think. Yeah, I think it was. It's a Citara processor. Good word. Features an ARM Cortex A15 microprocessor subsystem, C66X floating point, up to 512K of on-chip L3 RAM, Level 3 and Level 4 interconnects, DDR3, DDR3L memory interface module, we've seen the memory, 2 dual ARM Cortex M4 coprocessors, an IVA HD subsystem, 4K 15 FPS encode and decode for support for H.264 codecs, so it can even do video. And I guess we've got a screen there, so maybe that's the logic. The display system has 1920 by 1080 60 frames a second. Believe it or not, we're thinking on that, but there it is. It's in the spec and it's quite amazing. 2 times dual core programmable real-time unit and industrial communication subsystems. And on it goes. It's got an available single core PowerVR SG-X 544 3D graphics processor unit built into it. Here we go again. Secure boot support, hardware enforced root of trust, customer programmable keys, support for takeover protection, interesting, IP protection and anti-rollback protection. So what they're doing is, whatever they've got with this chip, you won't get anything out of it unless they want you to, and they don't. So I can carry on down here. It talks of debug security, video input ports, general purpose memory controllers, Ethernet subsystem, believe it or not, 16 32-bit general purpose timers, a 32-bit MPU watchdog timer, 5 high-speed integrated circuit ports, HDQ, one wire interface. On it goes. Honestly, it's PCI, dual controller network, a DCAN modules, and on it goes. It's pretty endless. It's what you'd expect from somebody like AMD, and there's the sort of block diagram again. I've covered enough of that for the people that are not really into chips, and hopefully enough for the people that are. But one last thing I wanted to just mention is that this is probably the most expensive chip in there, and this one costs $13.42 as a reference price. Okay, what I want to do is do a firmware upgrade on this G11 Multi Effects processor. It's all very simple. You can see that in the back I've fitted a USB stick. It's got a file on it that I downloaded from from Zoom, and they told me within their little bit of paperwork, you put it in the back, turn on a couple of knobs, press a couple of buttons as you turn it on, and it will automatically update. So I'm just going to go and do that now. You won't hear me yapping on so much, but let's see. Okay, well, that's now complete. I don't know whether you can read that one there, but there's probably a picture on the screen showing you. It says complete, please restart. And that took about a good 10 minutes to update, so it's not fooling around. Okay, well, this can be a bit of a pain to get set up between the two, and just trust me, it can. And even when it's been set up, you can come to it another night and it might be 10 minutes of messing around. I've had to move the port around a lot to get it to recognise this in the software. Once it's done, it seems to be okay. So what I'm going to do with this right now, I'm going to really crack on with this and just get you the flavour of what the software is. It's quite good, but you've got to have this connection going, otherwise it obviously doesn't work. So just bear that in mind, won't you? Okay, well, here we go. Take a look at the screen we've got. You can see the G11 in the left-hand side. We've got a file for quit. I wouldn't do that. We've got some preferences, and we've got a bit of help. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not really worried about that. We're first in this section here, where this is the effects that are on the unit. You can see down here you've got these categories, dynamics, filters, and so on. Now those are all repeated over here, so I don't want to spend all day going down them. You've got a description for each one here, and if you was to click it open, you can see that it tells you what it is and what the sense, the attack, the tone and the volume do, all that sort of thing. It's used 22 times throughout the presets and all the rest of it. And we can turn it on or we can turn it off with this superstar. A bit like me really, I guess. Yeah, this superstar to make it stand out. And its power, it's a compressor. This power, it uses 3% of the processing power, which isn't particularly too bad. Let's have a look down here. Where's that one come from? I don't know. Let's delete that. Okay, so running down these, you can just click down and whiz down them. There they are. Got dynamics, some filters, usual sort of stuff. There's quite a lot of them, so I'm not going to spend all day. We've got drive, all the stuff, a lot of drives. There's quite a few amps as well. You can have a stop the video as you're going, and if you like, they're all there. And then of course we've got the cabinets. Okay, lots of cabinets. You can load quite a lot, a substantial amount of cabinets of your own if you want, or you can go and buy them or download some from various places, including, don't forget, the God IRs that I talked about earlier. So you can see all these. I'm not going to spend too long on it. We've got some special effects. I'm not worried about them. We've got delays, quite a lot of delays. We've got the reverbs. Again, quite a lot of them. Oops. And we've got pedal at the bottom. If you remember pedal was where we had the wah pedal and all that stuff. There's quite a lot in there. I'm not worried about them too much. I just want to show them you. So if I choose one and I choose that one, you've got a description down here as well. So it's all quite nice, really. You can rearrange them by just clicking down on these. I'm not going to do any of that because I haven't really got the time to faff around doing all that. So that's the effects section. Okay, let's move on to the patches. If we click patches, here we are. It's all very similar. We can have a look at Cramrock, for example. Click it, change its name, do all that usual stuff. And this is a descriptor of what it is. There's no patch pool there. I haven't even used that. But you can back up all into there if you want. That could be nice. Why don't we do that? Yeah, there it is. Didn't take long, did it? Yeah, a few patches to be going on with. But it does actually store millions of them. I'm going to move along further and have a look at the import IR section, although I'm not really going to import anything. These are the IR numbers, the factory. Once you get down here, you can start loading your own in, I guess. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to mess around. And then we've got the editor. Okay, well, I'm back in again. Fancy that. Here's the editor. It's always nicer with an editor, isn't it? So you can see along here all the various things that you can sort of change, if you will. And you've got the pedals across the front. And what I like about the pedals, if you come down here, we can make them nice and bigger. And yeah, they really do work on screen. And if you change it from anywhere, it changes colour. Anywhere it was previously set, that is. It changes colour, so you know we've got an external level there. This one's called the water. Doesn't really matter. Okay, well, what we're going to do, I'm just going to add any old effect in here. What you do is you can go along to add. And I could put it there. I could almost put it anywhere. We'll put it at the end. Why not? And you'll notice that in there, there's a new header. But the header is blank. See it there. Go into the blank one. Yeah, I can. And choose it. So we can say, well, we want, I don't know, a delay. Hold delay. And there it is. We can exit out of that. And there it is in there. It comprises of 8 knobs, this particular one. And we can turn it on or off just at the touch of a button, so to speak. And there you go. Now, if I want to get rid of that, it's just as easy to click delete, highlight it, and it's gone. And you can see that those extra buttons across the bottom, they've all gone too. Well, and that's really how easy it is to edit the, the preset. If you wanted a different preset, well, we can go to a different preset. We can go to this one, choose that one, or choose any of these down here. There's a 70s rhythm. You might want to change the amp. Where's the amp? There it is. Find the amp in these. They're all the way across. Well, they may not be. It depends how many things are up here. But as you can see, we can make it smaller or bigger. You want to make it bigger if you can. Choose the amp and you can click down in the amp and you can see that it's this one here, which is an TWNR, whatever that is. Twin something. It's probably a Fender Twin reverb. Highly likely. And I'm splashing on the keyboard. How bad's that? Yeah. And that uses 13% of the power, so it's giving you a good clue. But you might want to say, well, I want a basement instead. And I can just literally click that, put it away, and now it's a basement. You see that? And you've got all these controls here. This one and this one are in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. And an input bright. So Yeah, it's all good, but if you want to go back, it's all just as easy to go back. And we're back to where we were. Very simple to use, really, and it isn't really complex at all. That's what I like about it. If you want to see them all, you just go to the small one, and you can turn them on and off from here as well. That's just really weird. Yeah, you can do it from there, but you've got to have better eyes than me, I'm afraid. Don't forget we can adjust the levels there. I've talked about that. You've got lots of other things in here, such as drum machines and stuff like that, but I haven't really been able to see that inside here. It's probably here, but I don't want to spend all day on the software. What I want to do is just give you, you know, the flavour of it, really. Yeah, we can go down at any of these. We can start on empty ones there. There's a plexi there. Where was that gone? Anyway, there they are. Great and simple. I love the simple stuff, don't you? Blue's clean. Yeah, there we are. 60s. I don't want to be a 60s boy. Recto pan, that sounds good. This metal sound with left and right panning uses Geminos and Recti Org, wherever that is. I don't know what that is, but I don't really care either. Going back to the import IRs, we could sort of go down here and yeah, pull them in one way or another. I haven't really checked how to do that. To be honest, I don't really care. You'll figure out how to do it. It's easy enough. So yeah, you can do it all. It's pretty good. We can look at the news and all the rest, and Guitar Lab news, flip top update. Well, that, I don't know, for B3N users. And yeah, you can do all this stuff. It's all good, but it isn't what I want. This is more like what I want. Yeah, I like this. This is not really difficult, is it? And you can grab these and move them around however you want. Yeah, whatever you want. But do remember that there's only 9 of them plus an amp. I'm not going to go through any more now because, well, I think you've seen enough. You've got a flavour of it, and that's the important point, rather than me. I don't want to go and sit reading manuals. Oh, by the way, we've still got the tuner. There it is. And the G11 itself has thrown the tuner on the screen now. Well, as I'm sure you saw, there are some quirky things going on in the software. It's still very ropey. I've changed the laptop, I've changed even the interface and all the rest of it, and it's still a bit quirky. So what I would say to you is that check your PC out really well and watch for the drivers. I mean, I've still got all the drivers on this, and I'm wondering whether there's some sort of clash going on. Okay then, well, I hope that was a little bit of a quick insight into the sort of editing tools that you've got available, and they are quite good once you get them connected, and that's the only real question to the whole affair. Now, it might be my equipment. I've lots of drivers and things on there. It might not be my equipment, and they might be due for maybe an upgrade to the G11 editor. Bear in mind, Windows 11 is moving along at a fair old chunk and speed, and maybe the editor for Windows hasn't been updated. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. By the way, you can get the editor for Macs as well, you know, Apple gear, so not too much to worry about with that. But I just want to talk a couple of seconds about a couple of manuals, of which on this device, the actual number of manuals, there's at least 6 or 7. It's endless. Now you can do it. You guys, you super duper guitarists with tiny little fingers can go ratting around on your Apple or some other one. Yeah. Hello. Hang on, it don't work, does it? Some people tell me it does, but it's an age thing, right? But I'm going to talk about manuals for just a few minutes. And this one here, you can see it's been printed out. It's all very nice. I've got all the stuff in here. If you wanted to know what to do, this manual actually is one of the simplest manuals I've seen in a good while. It's about 102 pages long. However, it's very simple. So I'm just going to take that one, throw it on the floor and move on to this one, because this one's called Guitar Lab V7. That's the software that we're going to use to control this on the PC. Right at the back here, this one's half the size of the other manual, but don't hold it against it. What we've got here, on this page here, is the system firmware version history. Yeah, that upgrade from version 1 to version 2 offers a lot more than what you might think. Okay, well, I am going to read from the book because I'm like that. And it goes from version 1 all the way through about 6 or 7 different firmwares to version 2. But the only one that really matters isn't version 1, isn't all these updates. It's version 2. And I'm just going to read it to you. This is what it adds. This is not what it takes it to, it's what it adds. It adds more original guitar amps. It adds 66 bass effects. As if we want to bass. I think they're for bass guys, aren't they? Oh, you're a bass. Oh, hi. Yeah. It's increased the number of user patches. Believe this or not, from 240 to 500. It's doubled it. All over. And it's added 200 preset patch memories. You're not going to run out of it, are you? It's just endless. But the last one is also hyper important. And it's increased the number of IRs from 200 to 300. And it's added 36 preset IRs for bass, which again, nobody's going to use, but some bass guy will grab it off you. I've seen them do it before. Hi Al, where is he? Well, while we're just in the back of the manual, I did also print out 2 pages that relate to IRs. Yeah, in the G11 version 2 guitar cabinet simulations and IR data chart is included, and it tells you all about how the speakers were captured and all the rest of it. But it says here, the G11 provides a total of 22 guitar cabinet emulations of all modelling amps. Cabinet simulations offer the sonic response of each amp's cabinet when using a GM connected to a real amplifier. So there, just in case you didn't know. And it goes on, it says more. In addition, the G11 provides 70 preloaded high-resolution, note high-resolution, impulse IR datas, impulse responses that is, of the cabinets that were captured by placing the microphone in 3 different positions. Each cabinet's got a recording where the mic was placed 1 inch away, that's 2.5 centimetres for you Europeans, a recording where the mic was placed 12 inches away, and that's 30 centimetres, unless you measure it wrong, and one where the mic was placed in the room. IR data offers a full variety of sonic responses when using the G11 connected direct out to a PA or monitor system. So you guys that are fed up of carrying cabs and amps, yeah, you can get rid of all that and just use this device. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, one last thing on IRs. I have mentioned these 2 or 3 times, and whether they're good quality or they're not good quality, don't hold it against me. I'm just telling you some things I found. First of all, this unit comes with some extra IRs that you can download that all replicate Jensen speakers. A lot of guys like Jensen speakers, especially you American types, because Jensen tends to be like an American amp speaker, if you get me. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course, you could go to Celestion as well and sign up with your email address or a dodgy one and download 1 or 2 IRs from Celestion for free. They do charge you for the rest, unfortunately. But lastly, I do want to talk about the God IRs. My God, what's Tony talking about? Well, he's talking about the God IRs. Yeah. Oh no, them are the devil IRs. I get confused. Yeah, the God IRs, just search the internet for them. You'll find them in one big fat file. I can't tell you whether they're high quality, low quality, this quality or that quality. But I can tell you what they definitely are. They're free. Yeah, all 4,000 of them in one go. Yes, 4,000. You can fill this up. How many times? 8 times. 4, yeah, it's, or 16. Listen, you do the math. It's all good. But don't forget I told you about the God IRs. Now I have got a little device here. This thing here. You'll probably see it on screen or not. Doesn't really matter. It's a BTA-1 and it's a Bluetooth adapter remote, and you can put it in the back down here so you can connect with, I don't know, maybe this iPad. And if I can connect it with an iPad, I certainly will, and I'll show you. I'll show it you connected, that is. I won't spend all day on it. Give long enough video to start off with. But there it is. I wanted to raise the point about this one because these were about £60 odd retail price. And I got this one, strangely enough, on Amazon for £39. There's a little tip. Go and have a dig on Amazon and you might find one cheaper. Here it is. The FP02M Expression pedal. Well, this one, I think I got this off Amazon as well. For about £50, give or take. Something like that. You see, it's never been out. But it comes with its cables in a nice little box, which we'll just dump down there. And have a quick look at it. But think about this. For its 50 quid, I suppose it isn't bad because it is a metal one. You can see that. And it does what it's supposed to. It hasn't got a switch on the front, which most of them, by the way, don't have. I did make a video of how to make one with a switch on. Mission, I think, make one with a switch on, and they charge 120 or 130 pounds to have it hook up to your Helix. So I decided to make one, and yeah, there's a video on my channel for how you can do that. Anyway, there it is. I could have bought the £20 one, I guess, but it is metal. It plugs in there, plugs in, away you go. What more can you ask for? I just wanted to show it you, that's all. Okay, let's move on. I've had a quick look through all of these piles of paper and I can't see anywhere anything about warranty. Yeah, I can't see any warranty anywhere. So whatever's on the internet is what warranty you'll have. It was interesting to see though that the documentation did include for EU countries a declaration of conformity, which some of the other companies I could name don't seem to have. Yeah, not that it's that important, but it's important enough because it's got a safety factor to it. One more thing I wanted to mention, you do get a copy of Cubase Ali and Wavelab Ali, this is the startup guide for it, and you can download that for free. How exciting. Well, it might be. There's the download. Oops, there's the download information covered up. But you do get it. So there. Let's have a think of the things I like and the things I don't like. It'll turn into an extremely long video if I don't. Well, the things I like is the simplicity of this unit. Very, very simple to use. It really is. And even in the manuals, not this one, but the printed ones, the ones I had earlier, if you work your way through it, it really is simple. I like a lot of the stuff on here. I like the display, it works. I like this little lamp, how you can turn it on and off here. I like these, how you can individually change them around and set them up, and it's there, right in front of you. None of this faffing around, where's my computer, or my screen's, oh, man, you know what I mean. I like these controls, the fact that, you know, you've got controls basically for everything you want. I like the fact it's got the pedal, the proverbial pedal. I like these how they light up. I know people laugh at me, but trust me, on a dark stage, this will be awesome. Absolutely awesome. I like the I/O all across the back and the fact that these are metal and there's a master and the real MIDI ports. And most of all, I like the DC 12 volts, positive center, use ZOOM AD19 only, and it even tells you the current consumption in the manual. No problem, no ifs, no buts, no R's, and you know what? Boss didn't. I like most of this. What don't I like? Well, it's got everything I can think about. It's got the effects, it's got the presets, it's got really everything. It's got the IRs. I can push it straight to the desk. I can carry on with these posses and posses and posses over and over. I like it's 499 quid, street price that is, by the way. I've seen them also at £649, so go figure. I had this one from Anderton's, so in the UK, 499 squids or quid. That's probably about $599, give or take, maybe a little bit of difference. But the horrible thing about Anderton's, it's the second time I've bought something off them in recent times, and both times I've been messed about, not by Anderton's, but by the company that Anderton's use to deliver products. Twice I've had to go and drive around. In fact, this one didn't come for 3 days. It's a right pain in the neck. Call Anderton's and ask them. Don't waste your time. The carrier is DPD. Yeah, sometimes they go under DPD local or something like that. The point is, if you're buying off anybody and they're using DPD, trust me, that's one of the things I don't like. It's not the product itself. It's not Anderton's itself. No, it's DPD. The problem is, of course, that Anderton's will be tarred, at least in my mind, for using such a junky company. The carrier, he's not a carrier. He appears when he wants and delivers to the wrong place and things like that. Well, what about the stuff I don't like? I mean, there's got to be something I don't like, hasn't there? Well, you're right. The software and its connectivity is a little bit ropey. In fact, it's very ropey, at least on Windows. I haven't tried it on a Mac or on an iPad or on anything else, really. So, to be fair to it, it might be fine on an Apple. Somehow, I'm not entirely convinced. But I think it's a software thing, and maybe the driver that they've got, which is still virtually version 1 on the driver. That concerns me a little bit. Might be no faults with it. Might be my 2 PCs I've tried it on. Might be me. Yeah, I only come from IT since 1981, so yeah, it must be me. So Tony, have you heard all the sounds and things like that? Yeah, I've heard the sounds. I haven't gone into great depths through every one of the last things in here because there's a lot to look at. But I am going to be playing it, and maybe I'll even get my mate round Alan. He can have a play too. That's 2 of us playing it, which is always better. Maybe we'll do that, maybe we won't, but I've taken into account the sort of quality of the thing, what you're paying for it, what they were asking. I've considered everything that I possibly can, whether it be hardware, software, connectivity, how nice it is, everything about everything. The power supply, even the little printing on the back. So what score am I going to give it? Well, what score do you think I should give it? Yeah, post down below in the text. Put it down there. Tell me what you think about these. And if you've never used one, I hope the video will at least let you consider the ZOOM G11, maybe a bit further. There might be a new one coming, who knows, but I doubt it. Well, nothing to doubt really. But so my score on this one is going to be a 9. And a 9's a pretty good score. You just trust me on that. If I didn't have that connectivity problem, it would have been a 10. But I did have the connectivity problem, and there's no answer on the internet, and there's no this and there's no that, and don't waste your time calling the dealer. So it gets a 9, and it's worth a 9. That's what I would say. It's like me, really. Well, I'm worth a 10. And that's why you should, you should go and subscribe. Do that thumbs up thing. I've got to keep warning you about this. You've got to do it. If you don't, I'm coming after you, right? Yeah, and when you get to notifications, click all, and then you'll get a notification when I make a video. I only make 1 a week on average. That might be 50 a year, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like slower. Yeah, so don't forget to do that, will you? Help the channel out, and then maybe I can get some more bits and pieces like this or newer, to review just like I am now. Don't forget to go to www.tonymackenzie.com. That's a nice place to go if you've never been there particularly. There's lots of pages, there's hundreds of pages probably on guitars, amplifiers, inside amps, inside effects, blah 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 blah. Even some chatting to some manufacturers off and on. Different things like that. Lots of things you can go and see that you might not have seen anywhere. Well, I know you wouldn't have seen them anywhere else because nobody does what I do. So that's worth going to. That's it for now. If you've got any questions on this, as long as they're not too involved, I can't see how they can be, but who knows? Yeah, put them down in the text, but don't go mad. If you go mad, I just won't bother. I just won't answer. I've got better things to do. But there you go. Plane's coming up any time now, any second. Well, it's any second to you, it's another day away for me. And yeah, I hope you've liked this one. I love the way that this thing looks. It reminds me so much of like the Helix one that I first got, that floor Helix. And you're slobbering down your throat on how nice it looks. And you know, this is the same. I wouldn't be surprised if Zoom sat back and said, you know, them Line 6 boys got it right with that Helix. Maybe we should do something that looks as good. And it really does look good. Anyway, on that thought, yeah, until next time, watch the plane. I hope you like the review. Take me hours on end. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Now get out of here.
Yeah.